Hello everyone and welcome to the 4th episode of the Smokey Scale. In this episode we will be reviewing Joji's latest album, Nectar, which released on September 25th, 2020. Now if you don't know who Joji is, he is an artist with 88 Rising who used to be a YouTuber called Filthy Frank. He became a song artist due to numerous factors. His past albums consist of Ballads 1 and In Tongues, which released over 2 years ago at this point. If you watched the past episode of Smokey Scale where it was a different album being reviewed, you know that the video split into 2 sections, quality and replayability. However, this time I will not be doing that and will be reviewing the songs for what they are instead. Every song will be reviewed one by one in each section and will have its own score. Anyways, let's get to the main parts. The first song is You, and the instrumental sounds very nice, and its high points sound well put together with the vocals, even if they aren't the best since sometimes they get loud. Overall, You gets a 7 out of 10. Modus starts off with an angelic instrumental, then hits off with clear vocals. Overall, the song sounds very good, it gets an 8 out of 10. TikTok has a good instrumental with vocals that are still as good. It's still consistent alongside the past 2 songs. It gets a 7 out of 10. Daylight is a collaboration in between Joji and Diplo, and has a very different tone in comparison to the past 3 songs. It has a very upbeat instrumental and has very clear vocals. It gets a 9 out of 10. Upgrade doesn't sound very good in terms of vocals, its instrumental is pretty simple as well. It gets a 5 out of 10. Gimme Love was released as a single earlier this year, and I don't think it's that bad, but it's not very good either. It gets a 6 out of 10. Run was also released as a single earlier on, and is one of the best songs on this album. I still have it on my personal playlist to this day. The guitar instrumental and the vocals are all very well done and clear, and it sets a mood better than most songs in Nectar. Run gets a 10 out of 10. Sanctuary was released as a single in 2019. I think it's a better than average song, but I'd say there wasn't much to it. Sanctuary gets a 6 out of 10. High Hopes has a good instrumental with some good vocals. It doesn't sound the best, but it's still well done. High Hopes gets a 7 out of 10. Nitrous does poorly in the vocals department, however has a decent instrumental. Sounds like a song I'd hear on the radio every damn minute though. Nitrous gets a 5 out of 10. I think Pretty Boy is pretty mediocre. I don't like much about the song. Pretty Boy gets a 4 out of 10. Normal People is a pretty good song. Vocals are clear as day and the instrumental, of course, goes along the vocals nicely. Normal People gets a 7 out of 10. Afterthought begins somewhat worse than mediocre. The vocals get back down to Pretty Boy tier and so does the instrumental. However, the collaborator's part essentially saves the song. Must be very heavy to carry all that on your back. So Afterthought gets a 6 out of 10, but only due to the collaborator. Mr. Hollywood is decent, vocals more decent than the instrumental. Mr. Hollywood gets a 7 out of 10. 777 is a well done song, starts off pretty good and plays along better. It gets a 7 out of 10. Reanimator has an awesome instrumental but has awful vocals. Actually, there is almost no vocals since the intro takes up 90% of the damn track. There isn't much to say here, so the track gets a 3 out of 10. Like You Do has very good vocals and the instrumental is above average. It sounds like an almost at the end song and it's fitting since it's the second to last on the album. Like You Do gets 7 out of 10. Your Man is the very last track on this album and is fitting of that. It sounds very different in comparison to a lot of the other songs in Nectar. However, the lyrics become too repetitive at a point. The instrumental is almost like a meet in between others and something that Joji never really touches on in this album. It gets a 7 out of 10. Joji has made a very clear attempt to make a well done album. However, the songs often are repetitive or feel like rehashes of each other or older songs. Some songs do manage to be listenable to, such as Run or Daylight. However, others just fail to sound any newer than previous albums. This album, however, is still miles better than previous ones such as Ballads 1, but the point still stands that it's decent at best. I am, however, excited to hear what Joji releases in the future. The overall smoke of Nectar is a 65% on the Smokey scale. Thanks for watching everyone. This is the last episode of the Smokey scale this year. I have some other videos in the works that I cannot really talk about. However, if you want to be the first to know, follow my Twitter. That's about it. See you.